In the year 1900, a discovery emerged that would change the world forever. German physicist Max Planck, then teaching at the University of Berlin, introduced a groundbreaking idea known today as the quantum hypothesis. What he revealed was revolutionary: matter is not the foundation of reality, consciousness is. In essence, the mind is the invisible force shaping our physical world, giving rise to matter itself. But what does this mean for our everyday lives? Quite simply, it means everything is possible. If you can imagine it, it already exists in potential, and you have the power to make it real. If you can envision immortality, you can pursue it. If you can see success in your mind, you can bring it into your life. Even the wildest dreams like flight are within reach when the mind becomes the architect. Now you might be asking, but I've thought about things like stealing, and I haven't done them. That's a fair question. And this is where we begin to distinguish between a passing thought and the deeper currents of the mind. You'll come to see that ideas function like seeds in nature. They're first planted in the soil of the mind. With focused energy through emotion, belief, and intention, they begin to grow. Just as a tiny seed hidden from sight gives rise to a towering tree, so too do unseen thoughts give birth to visible realities. By the way, only 24% of you watching are currently subscribed. If this resonates with you, I invite you to join us, click subscribe, and give this message your support. It helps more than you know, and it costs nothing. Thank you, and I promise by the end of this video, something within you will shift. You won't see life the same way again. So let's get started and make everything clear. First and foremost, let us examine Kanta's theory in order to have a scientific understanding of its teachings. To put it simply, Kant's thesis demonstrates that all bodies, whether human, animal, or plant, derive their energy from the sources that continually surround them. This simply means that everything, absolutely everything, is composed of the same and unique matter as well as the same and distinct energy. This one-of-a-kind material is what gives rise to bodies. Thus, for us humans, this means that our bodies are of the same nature as everything else in the cosmos. There is no division. Everything is the same thing. So you may be wondering what the original substance is. Well, this substance is the spirit. Before we go any further, let's define spirit explicitly. The mind contains everything and applies to the complete paradigm you've accepted as your reality. This comprises your mindset, self-perception, and perception of reality. In truth, it is simply who you are. Back to humans, here's how this paradigm operates. Because of ignorance, humans have always considered themselves as mortal beings, causing the spiritual substance to assume a corporeal aspect. As a result of this perspective, the body took on a mortal form, as the spirit shapes both the body and its environment. Next, the fact that man perceives himself as having to walk, be slow, or even fear certain things like fire or radioactive indicates that the body is trained to respond accordingly. The body absorbs this perception, establishing its own limits. For example, it may be damaged by fire or exposed to certain hazardous compounds. That is why we were always taught that fire burns, that some foods are hazardous, and so on. However, it is vital to note that this is only half the story. Why tell a half-truth? Because these things are true only because the spirit that occupies the body acknowledges them as such. In reality, the mind determines what the body can or cannot withstand. To further grasp this, let's go on a nature tour. We'll focus on seeds since they're the ideal example for comprehending life. And once you understand that, nothing will be a mystery to you. Consider a simple onion, such as those found in your kitchen. You take this onion and store it alone in a dark cabinet. After a few days, multiple shoots may grow from this simple onion, sometimes exceeding the size of the onion itself. But then you see that the onion lacks both roots and light. Nonetheless, it accomplished all of this on its own. The onion actually generated matter. And it is here, with a simple experiment like this one, that we learn something fundamental. The onion, by simply containing the ideal of its finished form, Allium cepa, attracts the universal essence to actualize this ideal through it. In other words, the onion contains the vision of what it will become, and this vision draws the substance required to give it form. He didn't need roots or light to develop because everything was organized around his ideal. Thus, we realize that a mind creates an ideal to reach and then assimilates the essential substance to make that ideal a reality. The mind has no boundaries, idealizes, and simply exists. But what would be the ultimate ideal perfection? What is the human being's natural ideal if the mind creates an ideal and everything is built around it to make it a reality? The answer is simple: it is God. The onion carries the aim of becoming Allium cepa, and the caterpillar carries the ideal of becoming a butterfly. So does man carry the desire of becoming God. It was not a coincidence. Everything has been imprinted within us from the beginning. Dr. Alexis Carrel, a Nobel Prize laureate in medicine, demonstrated this by showing that the mother cell of man is Christic or perfect from the moment of creation. It is designed for eternal life and constant regeneration. This cell of God is present in each of us. However, it is more than just biological, it is also a global reality. The Kanta theory proves that everything is one. Man is spiritual. As scientist Erwin Schrödinger stated, the multiplicity of self is only an appearance. The total aggregate of minds is one. This suggests that we are not distinct individuals, but rather manifestations of the unique universal spirit. The entire cosmos exists within us, and the human body is but a mirror of it. Man is a symbol of the creative energy. This holy seed has been within us for a long time, but it was simply a matter of allowing it to bloom freely without interference. In fact, just as with the onion, man must merely realize this truth rather than tamper with it. Just as the onion understands that it is allium, man recognizes that he is God in this phase, allowing this ideal to materialize naturally and rather simply through him. God is therefore the inherent ideal of man, and this has always been true. That is why the term God is universally recognized. It signifies the pinnacle of mental perfection, the goal that drives everything. By achieving this ideal, we can transform the entire cosmos into the same state. If we are the spirit and the universe is encompassed within it, then our transmutation affects all that exists. This vision is already a reality. It's as if the caterpillar has finally transformed into a butterfly, ushering in a new cycle of millions of butterflies. That is exactly what is happening now. God's goal has been accomplished, and thousands of men and women are aware of it and have achieved this level of fulfillment. If you are aware of this, please do not hesitate to share it with your loved ones or simply give it a thumbs up. Even a modest gesture like this can have far-reaching consequences. We have so arrived at a critical juncture in this evolution. The ideal we've long sought is no longer distant. It's already here. It lives within us. Our only task is to recognize it, to allow it to rise to the surface. When we do, the entire universe responds. But how does this play out in everyday life? Let's return to a simple metaphor: the onion. At first glance, it may seem ordinary, but peel back the layers and you'll find a deeper truth. Just like that, the divine essence, what some call God, is already within each of us. Now, some might wonder, if I am divine, why do I still have a mortal body? Why does fire burn? Why can't I fly? These are fair questions. To understand, we must go deeper. As mentioned before, the primal cell of humanity, the mother cell, is inherently divine. It is already perfect. But as Dr. Alexis Carrel once explained, the mind burdened by limiting beliefs and cultural programming prevents this perfection from fully expressing itself. For centuries, the human mind believed in death, limitation, and separation, and those beliefs shaped our physical form. Yet now a transformation is underway. Like a novice musician who once played only dissonance but learns to create harmony, the human mind is remembering its divine nature. It's no longer a matter of evolving, it's about awakening, affirming consciously, I am divine. In daily life, this state of being feels like love. As Erwin Schrödinger once said, the illusion of many minds is just that, an illusion. Beneath it, there is only one mind, one consciousness, one essence. This truth is the eternal principle of unity, the very nature of God expressed as love. Love sees all things as connected. Love is the bridge between spirit and matter. The Codex of Elohim speaks of this through the universe's 13 eternal principles. Once you awaken to this truth, you stop resisting. You begin to let things unfold as they are meant to. Your body, like a tree growing toward the sun, will naturally evolve to reflect your inner spirit. You don't need to force change, just allow it. And with time, walking on water, resisting fire, regenerating cells, or even flight will feel as natural as walking. You won't need to figure it out, you'll simply know. Like an onion that draws in the exact elements needed to become itself, your being will attract all it needs to express your divinity. So stay with us on this journey, subscribe and turn on the bell, because we'll be sharing much more soon. Wishing you a radiant day, and I'll see you in the next video.